Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sheza dian Prastia and I'm from PBIE class. Everyday life in the Soviet Union, the shopping runaround. The author Hedrick Smith was head of the New York Times office in Moscow from 1971 to 1974. The following passage is adapted from Mr. Smith's book, The Russians, which was published in the 1976 by quoting the New York Times Book Company. One, I had heard about customer shortage before going to Moscow, but only when we began to shop there. The Russian customer problem really had meaning for me. Customers were overweight in the lines, but Soviet lines have a special quality all their own. Typically, the Soviet women spend 2 hours a day in line, 7 days a week. Personally, I have known of people who stood in line 19 minutes to buy 4 pineapples and 3 half hours to buy 3 larger heads of cabbage, only to find the cabbages were gone as they approached the front of the line. Lines can run from a few yards to nearly a mile. Some friends of ours watched a line of people in Moscow signing up to buy around. The line lasted 2 days and nights and ran for across outdoor and apartment development. 2. In spite of all of this, the natural reaction of a Russian woman when she sees a line forming is to get in it immediately, even before she knows what is being sold. However, Soviet lines are more fluid than they appear in most stores. For example, shoppers must stand in not 1 but 3 lines for any purchase. The first to select a purchase and find out its price. The second to pay a cashier somewhere else in the store and get a receipt. And the third to go pick up the purchase and turn in the receipt. 3. But in diary store, one morning I found out that the game is both simpler and more complex than that. I went in to buy some cheese, butter, and polygana sauce, which were in 3 separate departments, each with its own line. 9 lines. 4. Rather quickly though, I noticed that experienced shoppers were skipping the first stage. They knew what most items cost, so they went directly to the cashier for their receipt. After setting price, I did that too. Then I went to cheese line, the longest, probably 20 people to get the worst over with first. I watched the line last that a minute when the woman in front of me asked me hold her price. That third of me to butter and milk line. The cheese line was moving so slowly that she got her butter and milk and returned before we had a faint 3 feet. I decided to take the risk too, and I got back with my butter while the cheese line was still inching along. 5. Then I suddenly occurred to me that all over the store, people were getting into line, holding place, leaving, returning. Everyone was using the cheese line as home base. That was why it was very moving. It kept expanding in the middle. So I got the man behind me to hold my place, and I went off to buy my burgana. Once again, it worked. It took me 20 minutes to buy butter, sauce, and cheese, but instead of being furious, I felt as if I had beaten the system. 6. This competitive shopping gives an atmosphere of tension to Russian life. People barge into stores and bump into each other with pace set in combative experience. You have to understand, said a kid, gray-haired person, that for as long as we can remember, shopping has been a struggle. Life is a struggle. 7. There is hardly any effective advertising to help shoppers. Americans complain about the constant commercial in the United States, but they might reconsider if they were exposed to the consumer blackout in Russia. A typical Soviet might be, if you want to live a ripe old age and beautiful models through the travel drink tea, most new papers published without ads, and software has no handless yellow pages or daily newspapers, supermarket or department store ads to help her decide where to shop. 8. Bribery is with spirit low paid 80 to 20 month sellers take a portion of active item and sell them secretly to regular customers who have either left a branch at first saints or can be conjured on to pay a high price, definitely 10-15 rupees on a 60 ruble raincoat in standard. In 1976, the ruble was equivalent to 1.32. 9. So common in this place practice that the Soviet press it always complaining about it, but it doesn't do any good. Crocodile, the Soviet rumor magazine, once show a department store employee promoting some newly arrived item their customer in the leather goods departments. 500 imported women first have been reserved. 450 of them have been bought by store employees. 49 are under the counter and have been ordered in the advance for France. One first in it is in the display window. We invite you to visit the leather department to buy this beer. So the conclusion, the life in the Soviet Union in the 1970s was physical and mental struggle due to the scarcity of customer goods and the highly inefficient bureaucratic system of stores. The main issue raised was the waste of citizens' product time, with average woman having to spend 2 hours each day in the complementary three-stage system, such as the real-life example of someone having to wait 90 minutes just to buy for pineapple or queue for carpet that lasts 2 days and 2 nights. This situation for citizens to develop adaptive strategies such as the tastic of holding place in queues that could be up to a mile long, while also raising moral issue in the form of rampant bribery and inter-corruption as trade in the saturate about the store employee who monopolize 449 to 500 employed bags for the own group. Overall, the text show that the inability of the state system to distribute goods fairly turn the simple activity of shopping into a lively competition full of tension, corning, and system industries. Okay, that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.